I'm Rhiannon Orzelleca. I work in the People Systems team as a consultant at program support. I've been at Virgin for nearly 15 years. I started in an administrative role in the customer centre, talking to a lot of our customers, worked up to baggage services. You know, when you lose your baggage at the end of a flight, my team were looking after it and trying to reconnect it. They did very well. And then I moved over to cabin. I was a cabin crew manager, did get to travel quite a lot with that, which was fun. Big team, worked at the airport. Very dynamic, very, very fluid role. But then I got the opportunity to come over to learning and development. So I've been in the people team ever since. Coming into learning and development, where we were basically starting again. We were looking at ways to engage a very fragmented workforce and look at how we can build back up after the pandemic. And apprenticeships was one of the most obvious ways that we could leverage funding and also, have these amazing learning opportunities. So moving into learning and development, I was able to see the programs that were available for colleagues to look at. In the people team, it's not a very obvious data-driven environment, but the apprenticeships, because they were in work, they looked so exciting and they looked so possible. So apprenticeships was a natural step for me to look at. In my role in learning and development, we wanted to make it really easy for people to access lots of information about apprenticeships as a whole, and also the training providers that they could use and the programs that they can go on. So one of our biggest achievements, I think, was putting all this information together so that it was really readily available for anybody who was interested. I opted for data analytics, level 4, mostly because in our department, there was so much data that wasn't being used, and I could see that there was so much opportunity to leverage it and to get some insights out of it. People isn't a particularly obvious place for data to be hoarded, but we have absolutely tons of it. And I just thought it would be such a fantastic opportunity for me, because I can really build a skill set and really future-proof my CV going forward, but also bring some results and a return on the investment back to the team. Signing up with Cambridge Spark was so easy, honestly. It's so supportive, and you are guided through it from the very, very start in terms of what you need to do to apply, what the application looks like, who you're going to talk to, what you need to do, find your GCSE certificates. No one has those, they're in the attic somewhere. And then starting the programme, when you sort of have been out of learning for a really long time, it's really quite nervy, and it was so supportive. It was just made so easily accessible. It was just very smooth, and I always knew who to ask questions of if I needed to. What is great about the course is you get 2 mentors, basically, and that's something that distinguishes the programme from others. You have a data mentor who helps you with the technical parts, the bits where you're going, I do not understand what I am looking at here. And they unpick it for you and they sort of help you, guide you through it. You also have a coach who helps you with the pastoral care part of it. So if you've got a question about, what module am I going on to, or how does this look, or my off-the-job hours, you know who to go to for the right part. I think the advice I'd give anyone looking at apprenticeship is, firstly, it's a marathon, not a sprint, and it's got to be the right time for you to do the programme. It's a big commitment. The payoff is tremendous, but you really have to be able to dedicate the time. And after a couple of months, when the novelty's worn off, that's when it gets hard. That's when you really need to be able to stick it out and keep going with it. I also think have a really clear idea of what you want to get out of it, so that you can continue to drive towards it and make sure that your projects and the work you do in your role is relevant, so you really get the most out of it. I think the recognition part of doing something that's been so big for an individual is really important. I think it's great to get a certificate and be able to put it on your CV, but it's such a big part of your life when you're going through it. It's every week. It's a lot of hours. It's my family know about my program. My little girl is sick of hearing about it, but I think at the end of it, yeah, absolutely. And to celebrate with other people who have done the same thing, who really get it, the people you've been on a program with, I think that would be wonderful. I've developed a few ways on the program. A lot of technical skills that I did not know I had or had the capacity to develop, which has been great. Communicating data to other people has been a really big learning curve for me. I love the tiny granular detail. I love spreadsheets. I love the cells. I love everything about it. A lot of people don't. So I think making sure that you get the right level of data and tell the right story to the right audience, getting that balance right has been really difficult for me to do, but absolutely imperative going forward. I think problem-solving skills has been probably the most exciting one for me, because I can take something now that's what seems like a really big, complex problem, break it down into chunks and apply it and get a solution. I think what's great about the program is because you have to do projects throughout it that are based on your role exactly, which makes the learning a lot more tangible and consolidates it. I think the projects that you do as you go through have a huge impact. They have to be of value to the company and your teams. I've done a number of projects that have saved time, have looked at attrition and interrogating spreadsheets and looking at sentiment analysis now, and all these things. 18 months ago, I didn't know they were possible. So now I don't know everything, but I know where to start. So it's sort of really opened my eyes to what else I could do. I think my highlight was about 3 or 4 months in. I've been learning some Python and SQL for a little bit. Sounds great. I thought, this is really clever and I understand this, but how am I going to use it? What does that mean? How can I make this valuable? And at about 3-4 months in, I was doing something in my role and I thought, God, I wish I could make this easier. Oh, I have an idea. And I had this light bulb moment, and it was like eureka. I just thought, that's fantastic. And that feeling, every now and again, you get a eureka moment, and it just makes it all completely worthwhile.